A hilarious new stand-up special from comedy legend Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, is coming to Hulu November 22nd. This Thanksgiving, see Jim in a whole new light as he gives you the inside scoop on everything from parenting teenagers to weight loss and gaslighting family members. For everyone in need of a happy hour, the new hilarious stand-up special, Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, premieres November 22nd, streaming on Hulu. Why get all your holiday decorations delivered through Instacart? Because maybe you only bought 2 wreaths but have 12 windows. Or maybe your toddler got very eager with the advent calendar. Or maybe the inflatable snowman didn't make it through the snowstorm. Or maybe the twinkle lights aren't twinkling. Whatever the reason this season, Instacart's here for hosts and their whole holiday haul. Get decorations from the Home Depot, CVS, and more through Instacart and enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
Ask me, ask Iliza anything. It's time to ask. Ask me all your questions. Leave them in the Instagram comment section. Leave them on your Twitter or leave them on your Facebook. We'll see them, we'll read them, then we'll give you answers. You know it, I've got it. I've got the answer. You ask me. I'll tell you anything.
Where do you stand on the performative invite for a birthday you know someone can't attend?
I don't have parties for this very reason. I can't handle all the etiquette of invites. So
Is that the reason? Is that the reason?
I don't, the thought of figuring out who you're supposed to invite is too stressful.
You should do a middle-aged woman birthday party theme. And the theme is like, those are the guests you invite. Or just like all the women who love you who are like in their 50s.
Just women I've met at coffee shops and vets' offices.
Just women that you've met like in line at Ace Hardware, like things like that. I invited a bunch of people I knew couldn't come just to be like, hey, just so you know you were invited. And the theme is a rave. And I have spent the morning on Hollywood Boulevard at stripper stores trying to purchase rave clothing, which is all flammable and weirdly very expensive. Probably because you can't like mass produce it.
Right. Yeah. And because they're not selling enough of it.
And what's even weirder is several years ago, like maybe 6 years ago, I went with 2 friends. I've written about these in my books, to a rave. And the outfit I bought was this like mesh, orange, pink, and yellow thing. And here we are. I'm turning 40. I go back to one of the stores on Hollywood Boulevard and I found its underwear counterpart. And that was the thing I gravitated toward. Like same make, same model, same color. It was the only thing that fit right.
And it's just been waiting there since your last purchase.
It's just kind of funny of like all the things to buy. Like what are the odds that you pick up the thing, like the same asbestos thong?
Now, is Sierra going to be dressed up for this party?
She goes to bed at 6:30. It's a ridiculous question.
6:30?
But my best friend's flying in.
She's
a baby.
That's so fun.
Yeah. What I was going to say was I would invite you, but part of me still thinks you're going to like secretly surprise me.
Not if I don't get invited, I'm not.
Yes, of course you're invited. You know you're invited. I just feel like you're really far away and you'll be like, I'm taking a Spirit Airlines flight. It gets in at 11 p.m. on the night of the party. I can cab it. You are invited. But more importantly, I think it's weird that several years apart in trying to find the same outfit for a themed party, I purchased the same garment. Just the bottom, not the top.
Do you still have the top somewhere?
Yes, I have to find it. We have to think about it.
You need to.
Anyway,
Okay.
I need to. It's going to be great. It's going to be a big party. And you know what I just realized? If you're listening to this episode, I love saying that. I'm like, if you're listening to this, I'm in Alaska. If you're listening to this episode, happy birthday to me. As you're listening to this, I am transforming into a 40-year-old person.
Oh boy, this is the big happy birthday episode. It's like sweeps week.
Have you prepared? Do we have birthday-related questions? No.
Absolutely
you didn't even think
not.
about it. You know what? I should get, as a gift, I should get to eat my lunch while we do the show.
That is the ultimate gift. That's all you've ever wanted. People cannot write in and complain about the chewing sounds for your birthday.
It's the ultimate flex in a meeting to be eating when no one else is because your talent. Oh, It's my birthday. Well, I'm 40. So we can talk about that later or not, since there's nothing to talk about, because it's totally fine.
Yeah. Do you have a lot to say about it?
I don't know. We could talk about it for the bottom and the top of the cup.
Okay.
I got something to say later. But yeah, if you're listening to this, just know tonight I will be having a lovely dinner with my husband. Hopefully some key people in my life will send me gifts. And I think I'm just going to take the next 2 weeks off. You really got to spoil yourself. No, I've got a gig that weekend, but got a gig this weekend actually, but I don't know. More massages. More watching The Office at night. More sips of wine and then saying you have a headache. You know, really getting into the birthday theme. Okay,
You're really living the lavish life of a star.
Leave a pause that long. People will think something happened to the player.
You know what? Do you know other people, when they speak and when they listen to things, there are pauses. It's not just wall-to-wall sound on every other podcast. Like, there are thoughtful pauses. Can you imagine if, like, on Serial, she's just like, and then Adnan did this, and then this happened. And he's like, and then I did a murder. And you're just, and it never stopped.
I guess as a comic, like if I don't get the laugh, you're just like, what's happening? But I appreciate that. You're like, it's not a mosh pit of agreement. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I think you take a beat too long and because you weren't listening and you're like, oh, I better log back on.
I will say, I don't think Zoom and remote recording helps with the timing of anything. I think it makes everybody's timing just a little bit off.
I'll tell you something else. In terms of strategic pauses and just pauses, I appreciate that I work very fast. In the other podcasts that I listen to, which are more learning based, you know, it's not other women that are like, we're having wine and talking about sex. It's more like I listen to one about language. Anytime they bring on guests to like guest produce or do their segment, it's always that same cadence. It's that same KCRW, like Radio Lab, NPR, like cool nerd. Like, I think I've talked about this. It wrecks it for me. It's like, come out with the knowledge. What I don't want to hear is actually, yeah. So, no, because Kristen and I met. We met doing a study, right? Well, I was doing studying. No, you're right. I could have been doing better. We met during a study, and it was in London? No, was it Paris? Same thing. And you're just like, shut the fuck up. Like, you're not funny. This is boring. I get that you're super pumped to be hearing yourselves talking, but like more information per minute, IPMs, not just you like audio masturbating to the sound of your own okay voice. Get to it.
That's why people listen to podcasts at like 1.5 or 2 speed. Yours, I'm sure they listen to at half speed, but other podcasts,
they slow it down. It goes backward. It will wreck a podcast for me. Just a dork delighted at like their anecdote. Meanwhile, you're like skipping forward for all these ads for Casper mattress. You're like, give me literally the 3 minutes of information I need. And the interviewer is always like, now that's interesting. So you weren't initially going to do research on the ocean, but then I realized, who would we be if not for the ocean? Wow. You're just like, oh my God. Like, just have missionary sex.
That's called a conversation.
No.
It's called, you want, like,
it's fake.
You
it's
want
fake
interrogation. Info. You want, like, a CIA extraction of information from someone just in one,
want
burst.
An exchange of friendly fire. I want comics. I want back and forth, not you extrapolating on something really boring and having someone else trying to make a meal of it. Now, at the time you came into the building, I have to ask, was it raining outside? It's funny you ask that. Because had it been raining prior, I would have acquired the proper provisions, but it wasn't. Anyway, folks, that's why you're here. You're here for some hard pounding back of the esophagus questions.
What?
Yeah, it's in your mouth. Let's do it.
Hi, Iliza and Emily. I've only recently found your pod, and I'm loving it all the way from Australia. I'm currently having a bit of an identity crisis. Backstory. I was married 15 years ago, and we had 2 kids.
The accent, Emily, for God's sake.
I was married.
Good.
That's more British. 15 years
No.
ago, we had 2 kids
You got it.
before separating in 2012. I kept his last name because it was important to me to have the same as my kids. I then later had another daughter in my next long-term relationship, which didn't work out due to lying, cheating, addiction, you name it. So I found myself in a situation I never wanted to be in, a single mom with kids to 2 different men. Today, I found out that my ex-husband, whose surname I still have, got engaged to his long-term partner. Feels a bit weird keeping his name, given he's going to be married to someone else who will presumably take his name too. But I also feel weird going back to my maiden name and have a different surname to all 3 of my kids. It's got me in a real dilemma, questioning who I am and where I even belong. The thought of the 4 of them, my ex, my kids, and his new wife, having the same surnames and me in this no man's land makes me feel like some sort of outcast. Should I keep his surname and feel like a total reject, or should I go back to my maiden name and feel even further away from my kids? Would love your take on this. Thank you, X. X as in kiss.
We spoke about this either last episode or the episode that you and Noah hijacked and ruined.
Mhm.
I will tell you a fun fact. My mother, when my parents got divorced, being Jewish in Dallas, Texas in the 90s, was like, Schlesinger's so difficult. I certainly don't want to keep his name. Her maiden name was Schleen, which is also difficult. So she, realizing people are stupid and anti-Semitic and can't spell and can't read, changed Schlesinger to a made-up last name. And she made up the last name Sloan. So she was Ronnie Sloan for like 10 years or something.
That's cool.
And I thought it was like super, I didn't think about it at the time because I was a kid, but like it's ahead of your time. It's taking some power back and some initiative. You're troubleshooting in advance all the people who won't be able to say or pronounce it. Yours is more emotional. Plenty of women get a divorce and keep the last name because that's your name now. You legally changed it. That is your name. But you don't want to be associated with it. And I get that. And I understand it feels kind of trashy to have everyone have a different name. It's also progressive, but I understand like nucleically, like it's not enough to share DNA. Like you want to share a last name. You could make up your own last name. You could go back to your maiden name and at least you'll retain that power. Is it important for your kids to have that last name or do they get the new last name? Do you care if the second kid has the drug addict one's last name? Don't let modern convention make you feel bad about the way that your family is formed. So you're a single mom and you have 2 kids and people will just have to deal that those are the different last names. I'm sorry, you have 3 kids, sorry. So you're a single mom with 3 kids. This is the reality of it. It's annoying for school things. Like my daughter's not going to have my last name. I didn't have my mom's last name. Like there's always that disconnect, but that's the way the world is now. So you can either decide that people have to get over it or you can be a total iconoclast and super empowered and go back to your maiden name and make sure your kids all have it or make up a new name. I like make up a new name and you could do it in the ethnic vein of whatever you are. So you're not totally abandoning it. But I really think you're allowing, and I don't blame you, you're allowing societal views about a single mom with multiple kids to upset you. And it really is the last thing you need to worry about. Like it's such a minor thing.
Yeah.
All 3
None
have
of the
different
teachers.
dads?
No, so 2
No, the
are
2
with
have
one
one,
dad and then
Yeah.
one. But it's like none of the teachers are going to be like, oh, that other kid that you came to the parent-teacher conference for has a different last name. What's up? Like no one cares.
None of them are the same age. They may not even have the same teacher ever. And like, oh, surprise, families come in different shapes and sizes. And it's easy for me to say that because I'm not in your situation. But like people can fucking get over it. Like you didn't go into this wanting to get a divorce. You didn't know the guy was going to be a liar. Like you did your best. And if people could just have a modicum of empathy, what's more important is that you're a mom raising these 3 kids. That's it. You have to always come back to that. And like anyone who knows you, I'm assuming you're not an awful person. Anyone who knows you and likes you, like they'll get over that quickly. And a teacher shouldn't be making you feel bad about that. And you're doing their best. And the world really could stand to be kinder to single moms. So you need to be okay with it in order for your kids to be okay with it and not really worry about what anyone might think. Because also people may not care.
Yeah.
People get divorces. Like, this isn't 1950. So I hope that was a boost of American empowerment for you today. Be like, yeah, I got a divorce. What's the big deal? Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. I got married. You think I planned to get a divorce? No. But I did. No. My 3 Joeys all have different last names, except for the 2, which are the same. But at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if I adopted them or if I had them, because they're mine. So whether they have the same last name or different last name, I'm trying to think of like an Australian like euphemism. It doesn't fucking matter because I'm the mother and that's all we need to know. My blood runs through their veins. I sounded like John F. Kennedy right at the end. My blood runs through their veins.
I only know, I only think of John F. Kennedy's voice, and I think The Simpsons doing a parody of John F. Kennedy, and that's the voice that I think of.
It's not far off. Mayor Quimby?
Yeah.
Had sex with so many hookers. Fall has fallen. Winter is on its way. The days are shorter. But just because, they feel shorter. And just because the days feel shorter doesn't mean your to-do list gets any shorter. You still have to power through your busy days. And a great way to do that is with nutritious food from Factor's no prep, no mess meals. At the end of a short day in the fall or the winter, the last thing you want to do is have to cook. Factor has got you covered from breakfast, snacks, dinner, anything in between. Factor has easy, nutritious options to keep you fueled, like their chicken Florentine with spinach and garlic chili cauliflower. You bet. That's what I want to make myself at the end of a day where I am exhausted and my husband isn't home. Whether you like routine or you enjoy mixing things up, Factor has you covered with 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenience options you can add on, like keto cookies, pressed juices, and smoothies. And because Factor meals are chef prepared and dietitian approved, you're going to love not only Factor's meals taste, but also how they support your goals, even if your goal was just making yourself dinner. Head to factormeals.com/Iliza50 and use code Iliza50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month. That's code Iliza50 at factormeals.com/Iliza50 to get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. The holidays are here. And for a lot of us, the holidays mean decorating, hosting, celebrating. For me, it means a lot of traveling. And nothing feels better year-round, but especially during the cozy holidays, than a restful night's sleep in soft, luxurious sheets. Boll & Branch's signature sheets are made with the finest 100% organic cotton, and they get softer with every single wash. You already know that I got Boll & Branch this summer when I needed breathable sheets to sleep in, but this holiday season, I'm actually gifting some of my friends and family Boll & Branch's Ultimate Softness Bundle. I get to choose a signature hem sheet set in any color, a signature hem pillow set, and a waffle bed blanket. And they're all getting juniper because I think it's a classy color. This way you know you have something nice to sleep on when you visit. It's the perfect gift for you and them. Gift you and your loved ones a better night's sleep with Boll & Branch. And right now is their best offer of the entire year. For 25% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets, head to bollandbranch.com/Iliza. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND branch.com/Iliza for 25% off. Limited time only, exclusions apply. See site for details. So finally, fall is here. I have been looking forward to it. I have had a hard year in a good way. I had a baby. I have been on a nonstop tour, nonstop traveling, and it's been hot. So I'm looking forward to, of course, pumpkin spice, everything, cooler weather, and slipping into a cozy sweater from Quince. I've talked about Quince before. Quince has beautiful leather jackets, cotton cardigans, soft denim, and so much more. All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Dressing expensive doesn't have to be expensive. Their clothing is beautiful, it's durable, it stands the test of time, and it's what I like to call a capsule wardrobe. I got an Italian wool cocoon coat. That's one of those, it's got like a European collar and it covers my butt so I can walk around New York City and not be chilly. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. Get cozy in Quince's high-quality wardrobe essentials. Go to quince.com/Iliza for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/Iliza to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Iliza.
Hey, Liza, I've been listening to AIA for a long time. Would love your input on an issue I'm having trouble deciding about. My older brother is getting married in April. We're very excited for the wedding and can't wait to celebrate with him and his fiance. My issue is my sensitivities about my 2.5-year-old son. I don't allow any pictures of him on social media. My husband and I have had this policy since he was born and are very strict about it. When he was first born, we asked family and friends to take down any pictures of him that they posted. I don't trust any website to actually keep pictures private. And as we all know, the internet is a terrible place for kids' safety. I've heard too many horror stories for me to be lenient about this. So my question is this. Can I ask my brother and fiance to ask their photographer not to post pics of my son? What about asking her family and friends? My family already knows that this is our policy. My brother asked if my son could be the ring bearer, and I said no because of this. I just don't feel comfortable having public pictures of him floating around the internet and not knowing where they're going. I don't want our sensitivities to get in the way of people having a good time, but I feel very strongly about this. It is a small wedding, less than 100 people. So what boundaries do I set? On another more serious note, thank you for speaking about anti-Semitism. You said something a few months ago about being a Jew proudly in the way that you're comfortable, and it helped me feel more confident about wearing my head wrap when we visited my family in the U.S. Thanks as always for the great advice.
You said head wrap, so part of me was like, maybe it's like a hijab, and she was calling it a head wrap, but you said her first name, and I know she's Jewish because no one Muslim has that first name. Honestly, there's a couple options here. And of course, I don't share my child online. The easiest option is get a sitter. And I am just going to put this bluntly, like, I didn't have any kids at my wedding. Nobody really wants kids at a wedding. Some brides love it. They love a little kid taking up the whole dance floor, stealing the show. It might be an easier thing to do. I don't know. The kid, it doesn't matter to the kid that he's there. The kid's not a part of it. It's not the bride's son. The easiest solution is not to have the kid there, to get a sitter for those couple of hours. However, if the child has to be there for whatever reason, the first thing you can do is just say to the photographer, please don't take pictures of this child. And the photographer will honor that. He is paid to be there. Mm-hmm. I really don't think anybody else, like if you keep an eye on your kid, which you will because he's 2.5, it's not like a 17-year-old. Nobody's taking pictures of your kid. Like nobody really wants to do that. However, if somebody takes a picture and the kid's in the background, the good news is if it gets posted, no one will know that that's your kid. Like if it was an accidental picture, that kid could be out there and no one will know it's your kid. So there's no identity attached to that kid. There should be no issue with just saying to that less than 100 people, hey, they don't take pictures. So if you are taking a picture, please just don't take a picture of the kid. Nobody wants to do that. So you might be a little paranoid. And I get it because you don't want it to accidentally be out there. But again, no one will know it's him. If you have to bring the kid, that's my suggestion. Tell the photographer and then you might just have to deal with it. And by the way, if somebody posts it and you see it, just let them know, hey, please take it down. But you don't want the bride to have to deal with it. Get the sitter.
Yeah, you're talking about, I mean, look, it is good to be cautious. It is good to be aware of what's going on. But your brother's fiance's side of the family maybe gets your kid in the background of a couple pictures. Like it is what it is at the end of the day. Like you can't.
But again, even if that kid is there, if no one knows that's your kid, the internet won't remember it. The kid's face isn't going to look like that forever. It's not like he was spotted at January 6th and people can identify him.
Or Dumois. I saw this baby getting a salad.
Yeah. So I think you're being a little paranoid, but I get it because I'm the same way. When I have something I don't want, I start to like rip a hole in space and I think about all the things that could go wrong and I start anticipating those things when in actuality, all it took was like one easy solve. You don't post your daughter. What did you do like at her birthday? Like, do you just say like, hey, everybody be cool. Don't post pictures Everyone in my family. By the way, our family, her birthday was just grandparents. We didn't have friends over. We didn't have other family. And everyone in my family knows there's no pictures of Sierra. Mm-hmm. All of my friends know that. But those are my events.
Right. Yeah.
And so, and I'm a public figure, so people know that about me. But like, I have to think about that. I don't have to think about now when she goes to a birthday party. But again, if her picture's just there and no one knows who it is, then it's just a face. That's it. No one's going to ever retroactively go back 15 years from now and be like, there's that baby. That's what you looked like. No one's going to do that.
Yeah. Hi, Iliza, Emily, Noah, Sierra, Tiny Kittens, and the beautiful Tianfu who deserves her own reality show. I've been a fan since your Elder Millennial special and an avid podcast listener for a couple of years now. This is the highlight of my Wednesdays. I need your opinion on whether I am the asshole and how to move forward. I, 39 female, have a friend, 42 male, that has been in and out of our friend group since it formed about 10 years ago. He has disappeared a couple of times just to suddenly resurface a few years later. What seems to happen is that he meets another group and hangs out there till it disperses or gets tired, and then he comes back. No one has minded much since we have our little subgroups and busy lives. He last resurfaced a few months ago, and we've been seeing a lot more of him lately. During this time, he has put his beach flat at my disposal several times. He said he would give me the keys, and I could just camp out there for as long as I like. Well, I decided to spontaneously take him up on the offer and go spend a few days there. This was a couple weeks back. However, when I asked him, he was taken aback because he was going to be there at the same time. He basically said that I should not come since he was going to be working on repairs and whatnot, that it was not that nice during this time of year, that I should either postpone or go to the north part of the island instead. I imagined he probably would be there with a girl, so it was understandable he doesn't want me around.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I mean, free accommodation is nice, but not a must. He did not own the island, so I did not see the need to find a new destination. I had my mind set on taking time off and went ahead with a trip to the north part of the island. I told him to...
What? Is this London? Is this England?
I don't know.
Because you said flat. Is it Australia?
I don't know. I told him to not mind me and that I was going to do my own thing, no biggie. He was gracious enough to give me some tips and recommended routes and made the point again how it was not worth coming to his town. Well, turns out the island is not that big after all, and after a few days of driving around, I found myself very close to his town anyways. I debated whether to give him the heads up or just keep quiet. In the end, I thought it would be impolite to not say anything. I texted him asking him if he was up for grabbing a drink or dinner that day. He said he was busy, to which I again thought, fair, this is quite out of the blue anyway. He offered to do a coffee the next day, but I needed to drive back north to return the car and take my plane back home very early the day after that. After a bit of chit-chat, he just types out of nowhere, I am having a party this weekend. You should have stayed for it. At that point, I was like, WTF. So basically, after telling me repeatedly to stay away, but now invites me once he knew that I was not going to be able to go anyway, I'm super bothered by this since there's been a history of ditching old friends for new friends. AITA here, should I have changed destination? Should I have not said I was in his town? Is he just an asshole and I should keep him at arm's length? Okay, and then there's some context. This is like the most British fight. Before his last disappearance in 2021, we used to be very close. We live in the same neighborhood, and with another neighbor friend, we used to meet at least once a week. We had a group chat, and we're in touch almost every day. He disappeared after he met a new group of people, and it was like a Mean Girls rewatch. When he was not hanging with them, he was talking about them, specifically Maurice, the leader of the pack, and how funny and great they were. It was nearly impossible to hang out with him because he was either busy or keeping his schedule open in case they called. All of a sudden, he was doing all these activities they used to find boring and called dumb. I'm all for personal growth, but all this was a bit extreme for a guy in his 40s. We never meet these people. We asked if we could join his activities, he said the car was full or not enough tickets or they didn't speak English or whatever. Total gatekeeping. Towards the end, he was outright rude and seemed to look down on our group. This was particularly disgusting since a few of us were the ones by his side during some rough times. Now, I don't know where these cool group went or why he's back, and I'm not tempted to ask. I guess we all gave him a pass because he had a rough upbringing and has this lost, helpless boy kind of aura, but now I'm tired of his shit. We're all mostly chronically single. We all have flings outside the group lasting a few months, but no one seems to be able to nail a relationship in this cold European city. You either marry at 25 or are doomed to haunt Tinder till the end of time.
They're not British because she said European.
You think it's like Eastern European because then they're all going to an island for vacation?
I feel like Spanish people go to islands and Italian people go to, but I don't think we have any listeners in Italy. You know what? What I need to know is where you are. First of all, this guy seems to think very highly about someone named Maurice, who's definitely the kingpin of a drug ring. So you're positive. You were like, hey, I'm leaving. And then he was like, I was going to have a party. Or because it didn't, are you sure that he knew you were leaving?
So it sounds like he basically was like, hey, when I'm up there this week, because our question asker said.
No, I got all that.
Okay. But he knew that she was going to be up there and he said, no, it's not a good time. It's not a good time. It's not a good time. Right. So then why would he then later say he's having a party?
Because he did it last minute. Because this is why this guy is like drifting in his 40s. It's because this guy is like not that great, and what seals your friendship is time. It's the fact that you've known him. We get this question a lot, like the guy like from the wingnut question from last week that was like, I've known him forever. Do I owe him anything? Are you frozen or are you just sitting still? Oh my
I'm
God, that
sitting
was so still. A lot of people, it's like, it's my friend forever, but they're the worst. So removing time, what do you like about this person? It honestly seems to me you guys are backup friends. He likes you fine if there's nothing else going on, which also is fine as long as you're not treating the people like backup friends. But he didn't want to invite you because he likes the other friends better. He knew he was going to have a party. He didn't want you near his house because in the moment he invited you because he was feeling good. You guys were probably drinking, and in the moment, mano a mano, he's like, oh, she is great. Or this guy, I don't know if you're a guy or a girl. You're fun to hang out with, but he thinks the other friends are too cool, or they just wouldn't mesh. But it is a form of gatekeeping, and that's all it is. This person is not considerate. They don't consider you a priority or a friend. So you need to file that away as like nice hang for once in a while, but you can't rely on this person. And if they ever bring it up, you need to tell them, and they will gaslight you and call you crazy. But this person doesn't think you're cool enough to hang out with the people he's hanging out with. That's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
That's how I treat all my friends. So I know this behavior.
But also, I'm a little annoyed. This person said, look, I said you could use my flat, but not this week. This week isn't good for me. I've got a lot going on. And then our question asker went there and was like, hey, what's up? I'm near you. It's like, well, I can see you in my town. I don't want to hang out in this vacation town.
Kudos to you for being like, oh, you offered me something? I will take you up on that. He probably meant like in theory, and he probably meant like one day that will never come. But and you didn't change your plans, and that's okay because you wanted to go, whatever. You're being a normal person. I think a little bit more heads up would have been great. Regardless, a normal friend would be like, oh my God, it's being worked on, but do you want to get dinner? I'm having a party. He's piecemealing out his schedule because he doesn't want to keep you near these other friends because he thinks you're not cool or something, or the other friends are like way cooler. So he is where he is because of who he is. And it doesn't sound like someone that you need in your life.
No.
There are you have to file them away as like the person that we see at a party, the person that's good. But like, does this person have anything good about them other than the fact that you've invested time in your life? I'm like, he's showing you who he is, and he's showing you how he wants to treat you. And if you keep showing up, like, it's on you then. If you're okay with being treated that way, then that's the relationship.
Right. Because you guys keep taking him back.
You're within your right to be like, you kind of aren't respectful and you're not nice like that. You're within your right to say all that, or just say nothing and just be like, I don't want to hang out anymore. You never have to return his text. Like, you can give it right back, and you'll see what that relationship is made of very quickly. You also could just do the guy thing and be like, dude, like, you're not cool. He will lie to you. He'll be like, what? I had people over. And you'll be like, and you decided to have a party last minute. He's like, yeah, I don't have to run everything by you. A real friend wouldn't do any of this. That's all.
Yeah.
Not your friend. Just someone you know. And I understand the sunk cost of like, but I was so cool to him when he was going through something. Who cares? People go through stuff. And by the way, he doesn't owe you anything. All you're doing is being normal, and he can't even reciprocate. So think about that. And think about the way you've treated people you don't want to hang out with, because that's how he's treating you. We've all done it.
Yeah.
Emily.
A hilarious new stand-up special from comedy legend Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, is coming to Hulu November 22nd. This Thanksgiving, see Jim in a whole new light as he gives you the inside scoop on everything from parenting teenagers to weight loss and gaslighting family members. For everyone in need of a happy hour, the new hilarious stand-up special, Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, premieres November 22nd, streaming on Hulu.
Everybody sleeps, but no two people sleep alike. At Coop Sleep Goods, we celebrate the way you sleep differently. We believe everyone deserves a great night's sleep with their own pillow. And the adjustable, customizable Coop pillow makes it easy. Whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, or even a starfish, we've got the perfect pillow for you. Crafted with our innovative memory foam and microfiber fill, our hypoallergenic pillows adjust to you, not the other way around. Just tailor the fill for the perfect fit. Add some in, take some out, until your pillow's just right for you. See why luxury hotels and spas worldwide feature Coop Sleep Goods and why we have tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. With our 100-night risk-free trial, you've got nothing to lose, except those sleepless nights. Get up to 50% off selected items during our Black Friday Cyber Monday sale when you visit coopsleepgoods.com/comedy. That's COOP sleepgoods.com/comedy.
I am a big fan. I'm about to finish listening through almost the entire anthology of AIA for the second time. I just
It's good
finished
for you.
Last week's
It's good for your
episode.
mind. Yeah, it's good for
Well,
you.
hold on, because I just finished last week's episode, and the person who said they sometimes cherry pick episodes, I have to admit, I also sometimes do. But I just tend to skip the episodes where you have guests, except for Ronnie, Fred, and Noah. You haven't had one in a long time, so I haven't skipped one in a while.
And that is why Earwolf hold on. Earwolf's always like, she should have guests. And I'm like, it's a pain in the ass. It's never as fun. And this is not an interview show. You're trying to hear what I say. Thank you. Thank you for that. And because I was going to say, what do you cherry pick it based off? And she's giving us red hot intel that you would normally have to steal a lot of personal information for to get that marketing info. Now I haven't.
This isn't a girl. This is a boy. A big reason
I don't
listen
see gender.
is because Emily and your dynamic is hilarious. My question.
Feminism ahead of its time. It's futuristic feminism where women are actually treated as equals and one is mean to the other and the other is too stupid to realize it.
Imagine if I was just shocked by that.
Can I tell you something? I am very funny in how abusive I am toward you, but if you ever gave me any indication that I'd hurt your feelings or that I was like disrespectful to you, I would crumble. Because it is a very tight rope.
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt you. I just want to make you laugh. And the
You're
second
not
you stop
mean.
laughing at my jabs at your personal hygiene, health, and overall well-being, I will stop. Jib jab.
To my question. I'm 23 and male. I'm in grad school, like all your listeners, and very busy. Also, I'm in the part of my life where a lot of my friends and family are getting married, like all your listeners. I am not getting married, nor am I in a relationship. Every time I go home, my parents are asking me about a relationship or trying to set me up with girls they know around my age. My problem is that where I am in my life, I do not see myself in a relationship, and I am in no rush to look for a relationship. If I'm being honest, I could see myself being single for the rest of my life. I know you're probably going to say I'm young and I don't know what I want. I will counter this by saying,
don't give me a phantom counter. I didn't even say my thing. It's not what I was going to say.
I am not against a relationship and I am open to one, but I think it would take a very special person to take me away from my work and where I see my life being in the future. So my question is there a tactful way to tell my parents to let it be? My parents are hardcore Catholics and were married before they were 25. They also have a lot of children, so they will have plenty of grandchildren. So it's not like I need to supply them grandchildren. Part of me wants to just say, listen, Mom, Dad, I'm going to die alone and I am okay with that. But I do not think they will take that well. I tried to tell them to stop trying to set me up, but my mom just said that won't happen. Any advice would be appreciated. Also, I just re-listened to the episode where you said, quote, let's be petty in 2023. And I 100% agree. We all should be more petty in 2023.
Wow. A 23-year-old male wanting to be petty. Are you sure you're not gay? Look, you can't control what your parents are going to do and what they want for you. I think part of you saying I'll be alone forever is the pushback because your parents are pushing so hard. So being a young man, you're just like, well, I'm going to go further the other way. You are absolutely right. And by the way, women are always getting upset like, oh, I'm finding a man with no goals, no ambition. He's not set up. Here you are. And you're like, I want to finish my work that I love. That's the love of your life right now. And you're focused on yourself, which you should be. And it was always so frustrating in my 20s because you like want to meet someone and women have more of an urgency than men have. You want to meet someone and guys were always so selfish in their pursuit of their happiness. I wish women had the ability genetically to give themselves that, to be more selfish, but we do have time and that's a variable that you can't really help. So you're doing everything right. And by the way, it's not about you being young. Like your priorities as a 23-year-old guy, it's just about like crushing puss. But like that's great that you're into your schoolwork and that's okay. And your parents should be so proud of you. And the truth is, if you met an awesome girl, like that would be the girl. And you're right. It should be someone great that takes you away. Why waste your time on someone shitty? Why waste your time on being in a relationship just for the sake of it? And if you were the kind of guy that just always needed to be a boyfriend, that's okay too, you know? You say to your parents, I don't have time for a girlfriend. I'm setting my life up for the life that I want to live. And I really hope you can respect that. And you could say to them, maybe one day I will meet the right girl and have a family. Maybe you don't want a family, but don't tell your Catholic parents that. Maybe I will meet a girl that I accidentally get pregnant and then we have to begrudgingly raise it. But tell them that. And if they're like, it's not happening, you should be like, well, I'm not going to go. And you're going to be upsetting these girls who think that I'm available and I'm not. But I also wonder if you would be more open to going if your parents were Jewish. No, I'm just kidding. I wonder if you'd be more open to going if it was casual and they'd only like done it once. Nobody wants to be set up by their parents because they think it's like cringy. But I think a big part of you is pushing back because they're pushing so hard. If you really love your work that much, by the way, I was talking to somebody about this. A friend of mine recently, a guy asked her out and she was going out that night. So the next day I was like, how was it? And she was like, we didn't go because he called. He said he was going to text me at 5 to like set it up. And he asked me to go out for 9 o'clock. And we were both like, ugh, that's so gross. Like, that's such a red flag. And she said it so succinctly. She was like, it should be like, what did she say? I forgot what she said, but she was like, there should be no weirdness. Like when you meet someone, no matter how busy you are, it should be easy. And so I understand the front of like, and the defense of I'm so busy with my work. But if you met the right person, I'm not saying you need to, you would find a way to make time for both. But I think it's okay. You're busy, you're setting your life up, you're working hard at school. All you can do is tell your parents these things and they're going to do what they're going to do, but there's no gun to your head depending on the state you live in. I don't know. So you don't have to go. But also it's going to make that girl feel really bad if you just like straight up stand her up and don't go on your library date.
Hi, Iliza and Emily. I've been a loyal pod listener for years and truly appreciate the company you have been keeping me every week since. I have a question for you. I am currently 8 months pregnant with our first baby girl. Both my husband and I are immigrants. I am Italian and he is Brazilian, but chose California as our home and worked hard to move here. We chose her name as soon as we knew I was pregnant with a girl. We both love the name and have shared it with friends and family in all 3 countries, and all is great. The problem is, this name starts with R, and my husband's last name starts with T. We have a very special middle name that starts with A. The combination of the name, middle name, and last name when pronounced sounds great, but the initials spell rat. Where we are from, initials are not a thing, but it seems to be something that could make her life harder in the U.S. What do you think? I'm aware kids get picked on for many, many reasons in school, but I would feel bad if this ends up being a big deal and I made the wrong call. Opinions of people in my life are pretty split between who say that no one looks at initials, especially for girls, who said that for them it would be a deal breaker naming their child. Any advice is welcome. I'll have to do something about this fairly soon. Hugs.
I think before a baby is born and when a baby is born, you look at initials a lot and people buy you monogram bags and shirts, stuff like that. I never see my initials written out. Almost no one knows my middle name. Your middle name, unless you are like super Southern, I think when kids are born, we're all about that middle name. By the way, your kid is going to get made fun of for a lot of things that you can't control. I personally wouldn't worry about it. I also would think of the positive side of a rat. They are resourceful. They are intrepid.
Very smart.
They are maligned. Very smart. They are part of the Chinese calendar. So, but to not give your daughter that first name, the middle name, it could kind of go either way. You're so rarely going to see those initials lined up in her life.
Well, and aren't initials when they're monogrammed, like it's not first, middle, last?
Exactly.
It's first, last, big,
middle. And that's really only if you like live in Atlanta and you want some like personalized Vera Bradley weekender bag. Like Jews don't tend to be initial people. I'm not an initial person. A lot of people just aren't initial. And culturally, if you're not initial people, I wouldn't worry about it. There's no reason those kids in that school, if they even know what a rat is, need to know her middle name. The teacher's never going to use it unless you're one of those parents that insists on it. So there was a lot of other things to worry about, like your kid looking like a rat. So no, I wouldn't worry about it. And also like Rat's also like a cool band.
Yeah.
Also, it's an acronym. It's not the word rat. You should also look up some other famous acronyms for rat, like radioactive testicles, whatever. You could look up other things. I'm sure there's other acronyms for rat. Doesn't have to be a bad thing. And it'll teach your character. Also, if she's hot, you don't have to worry about any of this. So
Well, if you love the name.
If she's Italian and Brazilian, that's one hot rat. Hot rat.
Hello, AIA crew and all the fur and flesh babies alike. I have a regifting question. I want to know if I'm in the wrong. But before I get into my question, my mother-in-law pre-ordered me Don't Panic Pear Tree for Christmas. It arrived on the 31st, and we made 2 recipes out of it this weekend, and they were so tasty. Definitely going to be a staple in my kitchen, and we kept saying, don't panic, the whole time we were cooking. It was very fun.
That's so cute. If you took a picture, I'm sure Noah would love to be tagged. We'd love to see what you made. That's so cute. Don't panic.
On to my question. My mom is a constant gift giver and often a bad one at that. She gives gifts and then will constantly ask you about them, bring up how much she spent on them, or will point out whenever someone is wearing what she bought them or using what she bought them. She will also hold gifts and other things she gives you over you as leverage so that she has something to fall back on if you're ever having a disagreement with her. All this to say, getting gifts from her can be very anxiety-inducing because you never know when it's going to happen. It's usually a bad one, and you better remember what you've done with it years later and the price of it. For Christmas, she bought my significant other scrubs for his job as a nurse. All really nice ones that were, of course, name brand because that's her style. But all in all, really nice and a really nice gift. The issue is one set were women's scrubs. We told my mom and asked if she got the receipt so we could return them and get a new pair in men's, but she did not, so we could not return them or exchange them due to the store's policy. A bit later on, one of our friends was over for dinner, and she's
even
also
with
a
the
nurse.
tags on? Like, what nurse is wearing them with the tags on?
Like, you got fluids on this. One of our friends was over for dinner. She's also a nurse, so we let her try them on, and since they fit, we let her have them. Flash forward to today, February 14th, almost 2 months after Christmas. My mom was asking me how Matt likes the scrubs for work and what we ended up doing with the women's ones. So I told her we tried to return them, but since we couldn't and they were women's, we gave them to our female friend who was a nurse. As they fit her, she would get good wear out of them. In telling my mom this, she got super angry with me, saying I should have given them back to her as they were not ours to just give away, and she wants to sell them because she paid allegedly $150 for them and could have made the money back that she spent on them. She continued saying it is rude to re-gift something, and I wouldn't like it if she gave away a gift that I gave to her. I told her that actually sometimes regifting is a part of the nature of gift giving. And once a gift is given, it is that person's decision on what to do with it. And it truthfully wouldn't bother me. She heavily disagreed. And at that point in the conversation, my dad stepped in and asked we just leave it alone and move on. So, Iliza and Emily, what do you guys think? Do you think if you're given a gift, it's your duty to give it back to the gift giver if it doesn't work out for you and that they still hold some authority over what happens? Or do you think that regifting really isn't that big of a deal and that it sometimes just comes to the nature of gift giving and it's the gift receiver who gets to decide what happens to something they've been given? Love the show and look forward to every week. I got to see Iliza live for the first time in Ottawa this fall and she had me laughing so hard I was in tears. Sincerely, Sydney.
Yeah, that's a good show. This is a very complex question, Sydney. So we will probably spend the balance of the show addressing this because there's so many variables. The bigger issue is when you said to your, first of all, it's crazy she didn't keep the receipt, considering she's so weird about giving it back.
Yeah.
But when you said to her, these are women's, not men's, that would have been her time to say, okay, give them back. I want to sell them.
Yeah.
But she didn't. So how are you supposed to know that she intended on doing that? I appreciate that these were expensive. And so it does feel on her part like flippant that you just gave them to another friend. However, since it wasn't made clear that one could even sell these after, I don't know what the second market for unused scrubs is. And I don't think she could actually.
Yeah.
I bet you she couldn't. She doesn't sound like the kind of person that knows how to actually redo that. So I think in her mind she could have, so she was missing out on that. I think she would have appreciated it more if it was it was so-and-so's birthday, so we did that. But you did just sort of give them away. So your mom is just kind of feeling like, hey, I gave you this expensive thing and you just handed it off. You didn't really gift it. You just kind of gave it away.
But he couldn't wear them.
No, I agree. She's feeling like I gave you something special and you didn't make it special that you gave it to someone. But at the end of the day, what she gave was unwearable, unreturned. Like it would have just died in your closet. And she never said, give them back to me. So that's weird that only once you took an action that she didn't feel was appropriate. Because I bet you she wouldn't feel the way if you were like, it's my best friend's birthday, I'm going to give her those scrubs. Or let me, there's something there. But she's wrong. Gift giving and regifting. It's funny. I wonder if my mom's listening to this. My mother gave me a set of dishes and I didn't want them. I didn't like them. And I held on to them. But then a friend came over and I said, do you want these dishes? Now the friend, they went perfectly in the friend's house. I know the friend would take care of them. She has a nice home and she loved them. So I just gave them to the friend. And my mom found out that I gave these dishes away and she was so upset. And I'm saying, but you brought me these dishes that I didn't ask for and that are not my aesthetic, do not go in my house. And I gave them to someone who loved them. So they're being cherished. And by the way, it's not like a family heirloom. These were just expensive dishes that you had that you gave to me. And so I never backed down on that one because I was like, you gave them to me. They were mine to do something with. It's rough when something is expensive versus like I gave you a Starbucks gift card. So I think more your mom's you are right, but your mom is feeling like she gave you this expensive thing that you just sort of gave away, but you had no other recourse. So it's tough.
Imagine how pumped you are, though, if you're a nurse friend and you get a $150 pair of scrubs for free. What a good day.
Well, the mom is thinking, like, I put all this time into it.
Not enough time to get men's scrubs.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they all kind of, on the bottom, like, do look alike. I don't know. So it's tough because your mom's not wrong in feeling like you gave it away, but there was nothing else to do. And so in general, yeah, some people, I joke with my mom that like, she's never just like given me a gift where it's like, I got you this thing. And I'm like, wow, I love this thing. This is what I wanted. Thank you. It's always like, all right, I FedExed you one thing and there's something in there for Harley. So make sure you give it to Harley. If she doesn't like it, return it. Or it's like, I sent you two, try on the one you want, send it back to me for a store credit. Like there's always like, it's a glass onion that's going to open. And when it does, inside is a clue. Like it's never just a gift and we're done. Like she went back and forth with this like random South American bra company. And every time she'd complain, they'd give her a credit. But then everything they wanted, she was out. And she's like, I'm on the phone with them. I'm like, you shouldn't be on the phone with Ecuador like all day to get like a free Chinese bra. Anyway.
Right.
But I think this is a very loaded thing because this isn't a one-off thing. And your mom's always worried about gifts. And so you either have to be totally honest or just be like, thanks so much and move on. But it is fucked up to be like, I gave you this surprise. I gave you a gift. Now you have to do what I say. Because that's not why we give gifts. You're right. The gift is given. It is done. Yeah. You don't expect one in return. You can't expect anything back. That's why it's a gift, not an exchange.
Hello. Iliza, Emily, the whole crew. I promise to take your advice and provide you a follow-up. I just really want to get Iliza's take on my friendship question. How do I tell my friend I can't be her friend anymore because she sold her soul to the devil? I'm Cassie, 29, female. I do have a master's, but not in the health field. I work in a public health/mental health nonprofit in teeny tiny Rhode Island. Fun fact, my question about got married in Providence on the night of your PPAC show. I parked in the PPAC garage and wished I was at your show instead.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh, you could hear the laughter bubbling over while you ate cold fish.
Let's call my friend Ashley. Ashley and I met through my job. She worked in admin. I worked in direct service. We would find ourselves at the same events for the same age, so eventually we hit it off. We became very close in August of 2021 when my then boyfriend passed away from an overdose. She had lost a very close friend the same way, and her then fiance also had some experience with that kind of thing, so I'd spend time with them when it was really hard to feel alone. I will always be grateful to them both for being there, but I don't feel an obligation to continue a friendship with them because of it. Since then, 3 things have happened that have disturbed me. 1, New Year's Eve 2021, a person I knew from high school who also knows her and her husband found my Tinder profile, and the whole group was cracking jokes about me, the fact that I was on Tinder, talked about matching with me for pity. Just to be clear, I saw him too and swiped left, so we wouldn't have matched. I wasn't present. I went to a different gathering with less people and more social distancing, but everyone told me about it after, like they did nothing wrong. I was pissed. 2, New Year's Eve 2022. I go to their house with my current boyfriend. We've gone on double dates, game nights. Our names were both on the invitation to their wedding. However, her husband and that same guy from New Year's Eve 2021 decided, who wasn't at their wedding because they said his girlfriend couldn't do cocaine there, decided to make jokes, make fun of the pajamas we wore. It was a pajama party and we wore SpongeBob pajamas, and just generally be exclusive of us. We left about an hour after getting there. I tried to talk to her about it and she was sympathetic, but also claimed she didn't see any of it. Her husband, who was obliterated by 8:30 that night, has no recollection. The other guy says it didn't happen, but my boyfriend and I were the only sober ones out of the group, so we know it happened. 3, this is the big one, the final straw. She left.
Don't say New Year's Eve again. Don't say New Year's Eve.
She left our nonprofit to go work for the mayor of our city because she wanted a pay increase, and the nonprofit couldn't afford what she wanted. The mayor of our city is a terrible woman. Voted out of office last year, but no one ran against her, so she's back. She personally went and cut tents in a homeless encampment in the freezing cold weather like it was a fucking ribbon cutting ceremony. Sent us a cease and desist for hosting a mobile medication unit, which is kind of like a camper, but provides a warm place for those on the street without transportation to receive methadone, Narcan kits, drug testing kits, and other necessary meds. In our own parking lot of our building that we own. We, of course, are still running it because Rhode Island has one of the highest OD rates in the country. She also goes on our local radio and TV stations to say really nasty things about Ashley's former boss, who taught her everything she knows. In her position, Ashley is actually physically signing off on these things, booking her appointments for the radio, putting the requests into the police for, quote, protection while she cuts the tents, etc. Ashley's name is signed on all of it. All of this to say, I do not want to be your friend anymore because I have no interest in spending time with people of zero self-awareness, but simply not answering her texts and social media messages isn't working. I haven't said anything to her since the second day of the year, despite her attempts to have casual conversations. The other day, she invited my boyfriend and I to a bud and bingo. Think like a paint and sip, but weed is recreational here. She made a point of saying that nobody from New Year's Eve would be there, but I don't think I can look at her the same anymore. It's not so much she doesn't believe in the work she did and I do anymore, because I feel she probably does, is that she sold out for such a small pay increase. Should I keep ignoring her? I never respond to her messages. I don't have read receipts on, but eventually I have to say something, right? What do I do?
It's tough because I don't think there's anyone in my life who has a job that I disagree with. And that's a tough thing to, like, you don't respect her. And this isn't like she's just a more conservative person, because then I would say you're wrong. But like, she is probably ideating on like ways to be awful with this person who's like actively attempting to derail everything that you're doing. And she hurt your feelings.
You already didn't like her.
Yeah. Only girls do this thing where you like stay friends with someone who like scares you. And her husband sounds awful. And so you don't want to be around him. And it's interesting. Yeah, you're right. There is no self-awareness because she's like, what's the big deal? And she keeps reaching out to you. I think if you really want the response, if you really want the outcome you want, you might have to just call her and be like, hey, I don't know if you've noticed, I've been distant. I just feel like we're not aligned in terms of priorities. Like you don't have to get super specific and be like, I don't know how much I've actually enjoyed our friendship the last few years. And I've got my own life. I don't want to know anything about what you're doing. And I think I'm just going to move in a different direction. It'd be weird if she argued with you about that.
Well, right. Because she's going to be like, oh, no, like, what's the problem? We're great friends. I have you at all my New Year's Eve parties.
Yeah. And she might just, what do you want? Do you want her to be like, okay, I'll give up that job? But even if she did, like your first two issues were about things that I think really hurt your feelings that you got no closure on. And I'm sorry that like, I didn't see it. Like, I don't believe in that. I believe if you're one of my best friends and you tell me something, I will be like, well, how do we fix this? Like there's drama and then there's drama.
Yeah.
I think the fact that this girl works for this deplorable candidate is icing on the cake.
Yeah.
On the shitty cake. Pea icing on your shitty cake. So I think you're using that as an excuse. You don't like her. You don't like the way you feel when you're with her. You don't like the way her husband is, and you're not signing up for it. The path of least resistance is to just block. It always is an option and just move on and just be like, I'm just really busy. Can't, just give it little oxygen. But the adult version is like, hey, I got to be honest. Like, it's really weighed on me. You can call it whatever you want. But like, I just feel like me and Giles, whatever your boyfriend's name is, I just feel like we're like in different places. And I don't know. You can say like, I have to think about it or I'll just see you around. But less information, the better. We can't make it. I don't think I like how I feel when I'm around our group of friends. The fact that she's like, there's no one from New Year's Eve that's going to be there, knows that it was fucked up.
Yeah.
And you don't want to live your life like that. As an adult, you don't want to be like, well, who's going to be there? Because they're going to be deliberately mean to you.
Yeah.
So it's up to you to decide how much up with which you will put. But I mean, in LA, you could just completely fade away. Everyone will be too filled with pride to ask you anything. So maybe just move here. And then you can have all the homeless people you want.
Yeah.
Go as many as you want. We have so many.
Kick it. Top of the cob.
It's the top of the cob. We're doing it right every day. You just take a bite. Top of the cob.
Oh.
My top of the cob is I turned 40 today and I think I have to like go get a mammogram or whatever. But like other than that, like I feel fine. And I'm sorry. Fuck you, society. I don't feel as bad. Not only do I not feel as bad as you want me to, I'm not thinking about it the way you want me to. If anything, I'm like, finally, I'm 40. I'm not like 39, almost 40. Like we're here. And now I get to begin this decade as the youngest person in their 40s.
Wow.
So I don't care. It's not a big deal. And if I want to have another baby, I'll fucking do it unless I can't. But I'm lucky to be alive in this tire fire of a country. So
if you were going to hire a surrogate, would you hire me if I put my hat in the ring?
No, I would rather remain childless forever. There's just too much Dorito dust and Mountain Dew plastics in your genetics already. My kid's going to come out as a bobblehead with a Hershey's Kiss for a nose.
It sounds adorable.
My kid's going to come out as a McDonald's Happy Meal action figure. My kid's going to come out looking like Mayor McCheese.
I just remember I had a friend who did it in college and made like $30,000. I was like, oh, sick. And they're like, oh, it's so many needles. I was like, oh, never mind.
Definitely not enough money. It's definitely like over $100,000. That's it. I'm 40. I'm going to have a fucking sick birthday party, which we will talk about next week because that's when we'll be getting closer to it.
2 weeks. Yeah. Oh, okay. You want to talk pre-party and post-party?
We're going to talk pre-party. This is pre-party and then pre-party next week.
Uh-huh.
And then from jail, I will do the other podcast episode on the other side of the birthday party. But yeah, I'm not embarrassed about it. I don't care. I'm not proud of it. I'm not anything. I'm just having a birthday. And I'm sorry, I don't feel as bad about myself as you would like me to feel so you can sell me fucking like retinol.
Well,
your turn.
My top of the cob is even though somebody went to the ER on my birthday this year, he's doing good. Rizzoli's good. He joined us for this recording.
Okay. I didn't know who he was, which one it was. He's sweet. He's a beautiful man.
He is. He's doing really good. So nobody knows what was wrong. Nobody knows if it'll happen again, but he's in
probably
good
because
spirits.
Nothing was wrong. And now we can move on. Now that you spent all the money, we can move on.
There was something wrong, but now I can get him spayed and neutered. Very exciting.
Every time you disagree, I'm going to be like, Emily, we're going to lose our license. Our license to pod. My bottom of the cob, and I was going to make, actually, you should go first because there's going to be about a cat.
Okay. No, my bottom is, I think just because I've been so stressed. Over this weekend, I've fallen asleep just sitting on the couch while playing a video game twice. And you know when you fall asleep, not purposefully, and you only sleep for like 30 minutes, but you wake up just feeling horrible. And you're just like, now it's 4 p.m. My day's gone and I don't feel good. That's happened to me twice in 3 days.
That's because of that Dorito genetics.
No, it's because I've been so stressed.
Hot Dorito-netics. Okay.
I don't eat Doritos. I prefer a Cheeto or a Frito.
Okay, my mistake. I'm sorry. Air One is right this way. My bottom of the cob, I was going to make a video about this, but I have to be honest. The amount of content that wafts into my baleen regarding single moms, working moms, stay-at-home moms, women, judging other women. I am so not signing up for any of these conversations It's all, you have to understand, if you're having any conversations about how one mom works harder than the other mother, you are playing into the distraction that they want you to be distracted by. Like, you are just a pawn in this. It doesn't fucking matter. We're never going to come together and decide, you know what? Working moms should get more credit. And now we decide that we're never going to come together and say, wow, women who have kids are more fulfilled, and therefore women who don't have kids really need to admit that. We're never going to come together and get the 4 women that didn't want kids that are happy to admit that they're happier than the women who did but couldn't do it but are fulfilled with other things. It doesn't fucking matter. And I'm so tired of it because it's endless arguing. There never will be a resolution. The goal should always be to advocate for women in general and stand up for each other. You don't see men doing this. And I get that's because nobody cares about men being fathers as much. And it's less of a conversation because all men work. But like, okay, so your friend doesn't have kids. You don't need to secretly find out if she's secretly unhappy or actually loving it. And you don't have kids. You don't have to convince me or anyone that you're happy or unhappy. If you wanted kids and you couldn't have them, that's sad, but I'm sure there are things that you do in life. And if you never wanted kids, like, that's cool too. But it's this like conservative talking point. Like, there was that whole thing with Chelsea Handler that they did.
The comments were so insane. People's replies to her video were the most bizarre.
Her video back wasn't that great either. Like, it definitely could have used like a round of punch up, but like, it is such a bullshit. I'm not even going to say Republican. We're going to say like alt-right talking point to attack a woman's fertility. I don't know Chelsea Handler that well. I don't know if she ever did want kids or didn't want kids, but the fact that they bring it up is as a distraction from the fact that these guys are awful. And women who bring it up, you are just pawns. Like, you're just being used to serve an agenda that is not here to help you. Okay. So it is anti-woman to engage in any of these conversations. You want to sit around with your mom friends and talk about how great it is to have kids? That's great. But it never has to include like shitting on a woman that like just doesn't have the kids. It doesn't fucking matter. What do you want her to do? Be like, I always did want them and now I do feel empty. And you're like, sorry, I can't help you. I'm busy with my kid. Like, so what? God forbid a woman doesn't have kids and she's pumped about it too. So what? And by the way, if you don't have kids, like, that's great. You do not ever have to see anyone's kids. You never have to look at pictures. Like, there are certain perks to that.
My children have joined the recording.
I don't care about your children. I don't have cats, and that was my choice. Ew, they're like cleaning each other, and they look alike. You know who your cats are.
What?
We are Siamese, if you please.
One of their doctors did sing that to them.
If you don't, please. Twins are always shitty in movies. Like, twin animals are always like
always
servants
evil.
of the devil. Yeah, like Flotsam and Jetsam and the Siamese cats. Anyways, even in Devil Wears Prada, her twin kids are like, you can bring the book up here. We're not shitty. That duplicity. Anyways, my point is, all you can do in your life is just make space to not fucking care about another woman's choices or outcomes. You don't need her to admit anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so she had 2 kids and she wishes she only had the one or had none. Like, whatever. It doesn't actually matter. Like, okay, then what? Ask yourself that. Then what? They admitted that they're unhappy. Then what? Who cares? We all just need to be focused on the idea that women should be being treated better in general and actually standing up for other women. That's it. I'm never going to sign up for the conversation. I get that my daughter's really young and we're not in school yet. Like, I'm not into the mom shaming. I don't know who has the fucking mental capacity or bandwidth to actually care about how another mom is or another woman is regarding children or not having children.
Not having children, I would think if I had a child, I wouldn't want other people to have children because then their children are competing for my children's resources.
That's exactly how I feel. I'm not interested in hearing about your child, looking at pictures of your child. I will tolerate it because that is what is required of me as a person in society. But no, I mean, it's helped me grow in so many ways, but like, I never look at women in my life without children like, oh, was that like, she's fucking busy. And I don't care I don't want you to feel bad at the end of the day. I hope you don't, and I hope you feel good. We all have choices that we deal with. Like there's better things to worry about, like fucking childcare in this country, or insurance, or a wage gap, or bodily autonomy. Things that we should be coming together on to make for a healthier society. You should celebrate women without kids. And you'd be like, will you watch my kid for half the price? So that's it. Fucking stop. Stop playing into it. Stick to body shaming. It's easier.
That was your bottom of the cob. Do you have any shows you want to plug? One's Vegas.
Oh, that's right. You already did yours. Yo. Here I am at 40. You notice my voice is deeper. I will have just been in Brooks, California. So the next show, we got Vegas coming up at the Wynn. A lot of people are making a weekend out of it. It's my first weekend at this beautiful hotel. So come on out. See you in Vegas, March 10th and 11th. And we've got plenty of shows that we're doing around the U.S. Iliza.com/tour. And any day here, we're announcing the new fall dates. So check out Iliza.com/tour. And remember, it's like we always say down south.
No special TikTok orders at the Waffle House.
It's time to have your high five moment with High Five Casino, the top social casino where the action and real prizes never stop. Fun spins and big wins are right at your fingertips with over 1,000 games, including High Five Casino exclusives. High Five Casino is always free to play with free coins given out every 4 hours. Sign up today and get free welcome coins you can spin for a chance at cash prizes. Visit highfivecasino.com.
High Five Casino.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply.